Welcome back, everyone, and it's time to, wait. What time is it again?
Bruh.
6 months later.
Oh, yeah, of course. How could I possibly forget? It's time to go balls deep! Now, if you haven't already gone and watched the latest Black Clover episode, then what the frick are you doing with your life? Like, bruh, have you seen this?
Yo, look at it! Look at it! Look at it! Look at it! Look at it!
Okay, let's calm down now. Episode 158 was amazing, but it's not what today's video is about. No, instead, we're gonna be diving super duper balls deep into everything that took place before that. Well, everything that didn't happen in the manga, that is. Wait. So you're gonna go over all 28 anime original episodes in one video? Okay, normally I would tell you to kick rocks, but I'm actually happy you're here. No, only episodes 141 through 157. I did episodes 130 through 140 already in a much lengthier video a while back, but today I'll be finishing this two-part series, and this time I won't be editing the whole thing myself, because, I don't think I could ever do that again.
I'm tired of suffering.
Anyway, I'm gonna be going over everything much quicker and more briefly this time around, because no one wants to sit through someone just going step by step what happened in each episode. So instead, I'm gonna zoom through it all and, just like last time, point out how it correlates with the manga. Before I do though, if you're new here, then you should probably know I'm not normally the one who does these videos. It's normally this guy, and he's normally much better at it than me, but he entrusted me with the responsibility of handling all the Black Clover content while he's away. Why? Why did you do that, Otto? I can't Also, if you haven't already, consider subscribing and liking this video, as well as hitting the notification bell, because we cover Black Clover on at least a weekly basis, but sometimes more, like this week, where we're completely surpassing our limits. Anyway, so like I said, this is gonna be quicker, which means I'm gonna be skipping over the minor details and only focusing on the most important parts of each episode, because I don't want to keep you from your busy day of rewatching episode 158 over and over again. I understand, because I'll be doing that myself. Cause just look at it, oh my god! Okay, so here's episode 141 in a nutshell. I'm impressive! Ugh, I hate that guy. I'm evil and all-powerful! Shut up. Yuno isn't useless, and I'm totally not just admitting this because he's a main character. Okay, so it's better than that. I promise it's not that basic. Even though it kind of is.
Bruh.
Basically, the episode uses a bunch of not so important plot elements to establish something very important for the Golden Dawn. And that's the fact that, even though they're the most well-known and successful squad in the whole kingdom, they're not perfect, and have their own issues. Like the fact that Yuno isn't very open to spending extra time with his fellow squad mates, or that Alec Dora is a prideful prick who can't get over himself. It also shows that the squad has mostly come around to Yuno and want to be friendly with them, and that he should trust them and establish more personal bonds with them all, which absolutely corresponds with the manga, seeing as though everyone in the squad respects and acknowledges him by chapter 234. Okay, so moving on, we have a whole arc to jump into, and this is the first legitimate anime-exclusive arc where it tells a planned-out story that takes longer than one episode to conclude, and it's called the Devil Banishers arc. This arc is probably going to be the most interesting part of the whole video, so let's get into it. The arc starts by giving us some backstory about characters we're not familiar with in a town that we've never even heard of. It's called Tiulu. Anyway, the name doesn't really matter too much. You don't really need to remember it, so it's fine. Anyway, this is where the motivation for the villains of this arc was born, and it all happened during the Eye of the Midnight Sun attack. The episode first focuses on 3 characters, Dazu, which is this chick, and these 2 jerks, who apparently are her family, like her mom and her husband. Dazu uses catalyst magic, which means she can borrow and use the magic of others. She doesn't have a lot of mana, so she can only really use it on a very small scale, and this causes her family to look down upon her, but in a very calm and, I guess, hitting kind of way. Like, they're not necessarily mean to her, and they try to come across nice, but they don't respect her and think she's kind of pathetic. Anyways, it's just a whole lot of not good. So, the elves attack, and her family gets stuck in some rubble, but she doesn't save them because, spoiler, she doesn't want them to live. And although she didn't save them, she technically didn't kill them either. Anyway, she and this other chick, who's apparently named Bo, decide to start a cult after seeing Asta's picture in the paper and coming to the conclusion that they should blame him for what happened during the attack. Cause, you know, the news made him out as a criminal who made a pact with the devil to try to kill everybody, so it just kinda makes sense. They then get this guy who works for Damnatio to join the cult after conveniently overhearing that he doesn't approve of Damnatio's decision to delay Asta and Sekrei's execution. They then get a few more people together, and before you know it, they even have a whole name and everything. The Devil Banishers! And absolutely nothing will go wrong with this. Nope, not a thing. Totally no plot twists to be found here.
Bruh.
Anyway, sometime after all that, the Black Bulls are found training like they're supposed to be, because, you know, the devil is gonna attack in less than 6 months. They gotta bulk up! Suddenly, the Devil Banisher guys show up and try to kill Asta and Sekrei. But of course, they put up a fight until this.
Pocket sand. Yeah.
Anyway, they take Sekrei, but the plot allows Noelle to stop them from taking Asta, who is now in a coma. Oh yeah, they also take Marie, can't forget to mention that. So, the Black Bulls are angry and blame Damnatio for this until he tells them it wasn't him.
I didn't do this stuff.
Suddenly, Julius butts in and has Noelle show them that Sekrei took Asta's tracking cuff with her sealing magic so that they could look for her when they get the chance. So they go looking and asking around for information, but have zero luck and decide to meet back up and discuss what to do next. Damnatio predicts that they'll want to hold a public execution, which is conveniently exactly what they decide to do. So the next day, they invite the public and everything so that they can kill the servants of the devil in front of the masses, so that they can gain their respect. Of course, the bulls show up, but keep themselves hidden at first, until they suddenly decide not to, and a big old battle starts. The Devil Banisher's plan fails, and they get Marie back, but they do end up getting Asta's grimoire. Later on, Damnatio contacts Cobway, which is apparently this guy's name, and it turns out that he's been betrayed by his own cult. This is why you don't join cults, people. As Dazu and Bo had their own agenda to begin with, and decided to call themselves the Devil Believers instead.
Hey yo, what the fuck?
Okay, so after that, not an overwhelming amount actually happens. Dazu and the others decide they're gonna go to the Spade Kingdom with all the people who want the devil's power due to not having a whole lot of magic, and offer Sekrei and Asta's grimoire as sacrifices in exchange for power. But Asta and the others aren't gonna let that happen, so they tail them and try to work it all out. Asta offers to go in Sekrei's place, but that doesn't last long because eventually the captains show up and start to defuse the whole situation. Suddenly, because they're entering the Grand Magic Zone, and because why not, we see this huge ice monster and... wait, is that? Holy frick, it's the ice monster from Boruto Opening 4! Like legit, they just took it and threw it into the Black Clover Anime! But it's okay, because the captains are ready for action and take it out pretty quickly. After that, all the civilians who came with the cult are told that if they turn back now, they won't face any kind of legal judgment. So they leave and Damnatio executes the Devil Believers. Okay, so he doesn't do that. Instead, he just exiles them, so they're not allowed back in the Clover Kingdom. Seems like a light punishment, but I mean, they let William keep his position as a captain, so I guess anything can be forgiven in this show. They give back Sekrei and Asta's grimoire and then leave for the Grand Magic Zone, where, let's be honest, they probably died. Just being real here, it's almost impossible to survive in that kind of environment. Now, before we move on, I do want to point out the more meaningful aspects of this arc real quick, because the way I explained it made it sound bad, which it isn't. The arc was all about stressing how impactful the elf attack was on the kingdom, because the manga didn't really go into it the way this arc did. People's homes were destroyed, died. A lot of people died, and the Magic Knights weren't exactly able to help them, because, you know, they had their hands tied. So there's a lot of resentment for them in this little town. A lot of people in that part of the kingdom don't have a lot of magic, and after seeing Asta have the power of a devil, they all believe having their own will also solve their issues. This is freaking deep because it's the exact opposite of the message Asta wants to convey with his actions and effort. He wants people to believe they can do anything if they work hard and don't give up. Not that they can become strong if they have a devil inside them, but without even realizing, this was a message he could accidentally convey, which is exactly what happened. This is a side to Black Clover Tabata himself hasn't even explored, and that's just one reason I say watch Black Clover. Its anime does a great job of expanding it and exploring more than its manga can, despite the animation not always being all that great. Oh yeah, speaking of animation, the next episode that really matters is episode 151, where it's basically a great big Sakuga fest. Okay, so this episode doesn't actually matter all that much, but it's one of the best anime original episodes in this whole show, so of course I'm gonna talk about it for just a second. Basically, to show the kingdom they can trust the Magic Knights to defend them, they decide to broadcast a big ol' battle royale among the captains so that the whole kingdom can see. This is where we get to see all the strongest mages in the country of Clover go all out and just let loose. The episode ends with Yami doing cool stuff, so that's what matters. After that, the only notable things to mention in episode 152 and 153 are that the captains all decided who's going to train in the Heart Kingdom, so we know who will be focused on in the episodes to come. Then there's 154, which is technically the start of season 4, which we all weren't even sure we'd get for a while, so that's an absolute win. Now, this is a solid episode, not a lot happens, it's just Langris being all like, I don't want to do work yet, because I can't get over the fact that an elf took over my body. Until he's suddenly super jealous of Yuno and wants to fight him. So, they fight, and it's pretty lit. After that, Langris gives up his position as vice captain, and this is how Yuno becomes vice captain like we see in the manga. After that, all that really needs to be mentioned is some of the training Asta and the others did in the Heart Kingdom, because we get to see some manga abilities learned in the anime, not all of them, but it's good to see. So, Rill and Charmy are naturally super duper talented and learn the Heart Kingdom's mana method real easily. Same with Charlotte and Luck, while Magna doesn't quite get it yet, and apparently he's only at stage 5 and needs to be at stage 3 to use mana words, which allow you to give commands to a spell. So, he gives up after one attempt and goes back to the Clover Kingdom, where I believe he and Zora train together, even though we haven't actually seen either of them just yet in the manga since the time skip started. In episode 156, Asta learns how to shoot anti-magic with his Demon Dweller sword against Gaja, and Yami learns how to stand on mana while fighting the goddess Leona, so that he can seemingly float in the air like we see him do in chapter 244. In the next episode, we get a huge recap for anyone who hasn't watched or read the series, blah 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 blah. Then we get some action. Asta and Gaja are sparring once again, and Asta is struggling to find an opening to attack until suddenly he's able to grab his Demon Slayer sword without actually reaching for it. This is just like we see in chapter 229 or episode 158, where he calls his sword over and it comes to him. This is where he suddenly makes a breakthrough and decides to keep trying. Anyway, so that wraps up the training in the anime. Everything else doesn't really matter. Only other thing we see is... wait. They're showing Dante? Look at him! He's right there! Yo! Okay, so that about does it for this video. If you liked it and want to see more, give it a big ol' thumbs up, subscribe, and smash that notification bell. Thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.